Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to DEFCON Aftermath. We're taking a look at defenders versus controllers in a tete-a-tete, trying to figure out who is the superior supporting archetype in the game. And we are pitting these guys head-to-head in these 801 trials, these incarnate level architect entertainment custom-built missions by a user of the name Linnea. And in round 4 of DEF CON Aftermath, we're taking a look at Storm Summoning as our common set. And I've already talked about Scouring Sands, my Firestorm energy controller. This go around, we're going to be taking a look at Sycorax, Storm Beam Rifle Mace Defender. I already presented his concept as this Storm Siphon character that, I don't know, works on some sci-fi gas giant atmosphere harvesting operation, whatever. And I talked about beam rifle and what it brings to the table as far as the disintegration mechanic and how that is going to be transferred through the other shots, triggering all these little special effects and things. And beam rifle is a pretty cool set, although it's a little bit hard to use given that disintegrate mechanic. Because if your target that is the disintegrate main guy gets killed too fast, you're unable to get the nice disintegration spread jumping all over the place. So that's something we'll be taking a look at during our solo tests and then ultimately his teamwork tests. And so today I want to focus just on his mids build. What am I doing to marry these two power sets, Storm Summoning and Beam Rifle for a defender, along with his Mace Mastery epic set. So to do that, of course, we're going to be using MIDS Reborn. So let's pull up his actual build and we'll talk you through it. My choices here as far as powers and slotting and what the numbers look like when we're all done. So here we are. This is his MIDS build. And by the way, I'm putting these builds up on the official Homecoming forums in the DEF CON Aftermath post that I created in the archetype forum. But anyway, here we go. We've got, starting from Storm Summoning, we have picked everything here with the exception of Thunderclap. And Thunderclap being a PB AoE stun, a little low mag stun. Don't have a problem with this power, but I got so many other things I want to do that flying into melee and unleashing a thunderclap is not top of my priority. Then for beam rifle, I've taken everything. I want to be able to pew pew like nobody's business. So I've got it all there, all the options, all the boom booms that I can find. I'm then, of course, combining this with Mace Mastery. And for Mace Mastery, the big thing we're trying to get here is a combination of some defense, along with focused accuracy. I want to be able to hit. This guy's going to be a pinpoint targeting machine. So between aim, focused accuracy, I'm going to really be able to lay into some people without missing. And web envelope is going to round that out with an AoE immobilize to kind of keep targets pinned down in a cluster in order for me to magnify and amplify all of my debuffs and damage patches and that sort of thing, which is really the focus of this guy. Get them all clustered up and just start unleashing with disintegration, spreading every which way. So let's go ahead and take a look at the individual powers and the different sets that I've slotted in them. First things first, Gale. Grab that one. Simple accuracy, along with the knockdown to, or knockback to knockdown. Gale's a nice actual power. I think it's pretty OP if you want to be told the truth as far as the low level power goes. I mean, it's a big old cone knocking a bunch of people down. It's pretty much guaranteed knockback. What's the arc on this thing? It's got to be huge. Where is it? And in here, I'm going to have to go over to, pull up City of Data. 1 second. All right, here's City of Data. Here's the numbers on Gale for Defender. So we got a nice 50-foot range on this power, and it's got an 80-degree arc. So, you know, picture your character and a nice right triangle spewing out from in front of them. Max targets 16, so that's pretty much everybody. And the magnitude of the KB is 10. So you're gonna knock everybody down. It's not a great damaging power, of course, but you're going to knock everybody back, which is then why I went ahead and went with the knock down proc so that I'm not scattering stuff all over the place. But it's a great opener at low levels. Even at upper levels, you can just kind of go in there, just blow everybody over. And then once they're on their back, you start unloading with your other stuff. Then we went ahead, actually took O2 boost on this guy. It was, a mid-level pick for me. I've got 3 doctored wounds in there. Gives me some resistance for smash lethal as well as fire cold. That's a nice little cheap healing set, so what the heck, why not throw that into the mix? Scoot this down a little bit so we're going to capture some of these things. There we go. So we've got O2. Then we've got Snowstorm as my third pick. This is going to be right here. I've got the Tempered Readiness, a pair of those. Mostly on the endurance side of things, and going to get a little bit of recovery boost on this one. One of the things this guy's definitely going to have an issue with, I talked about this in the controller build as well for Scouring Sands, but he's going to have endurance issues. I've got lots of toggles going with the storm stuff, the debuff stuff, and then I got leadership package. I got my Mace Mastery shield. So he's got a lot of things going on that are constantly going to be bleeding endurance. Plus, he's going to be shooting a lot given that he has every single power and beam rifle. So he's going to be hemorrhaging blue. He's going to need to have ways to mitigate that. Then my third slot on Snowstorm is a curtail speed, endurance, recharge slow. Even though it says level 30 because I have it attuned, it's going to act as a level 50 slot for me. That's one of the advantages of attuning. So overall, I've got a nice endurance reduction on this ability. So I'll be able to run it pretty constant. And the debuff on it's pretty solid as well. If we take a look at our numbers here, we've got 62.5% recharge debuff. That's pretty gross. And you get just the movement speed debuffing here and the slowing. So it's going to help keep things grounded. It does have a minus fly on it, minus run speed. This overall slowing, minus recharge. Help to keep things clustered because I want to pair that up with jumping ahead a little bit. Freezing rain. Right, for freezing rain. Where is that thing? Right here. I've got it slotted with shield breaker. 4 of those with the damage proc in it. Chance for lethal. The big thing that shield breaker is going to give me, if I scoot this up so you can see it better. There we go. We've got recovery and some more damage resistance, smash lethal, some defense. So I'm also going to be trying to snatch as much resistance and defenses as I can get from various set bonuses. So between those two, I'm going to be able to just concentrate, debuff, and slowing on targets. The minus defense is almost 50% here, minus 45. Let me use my little pop-out window here. We've got 45% debuff with defense for that one. That's pretty sick. Another 62.5% slowing debuffing. So between those two things, we're, 125% debuff on the recharge. Minus resistance is 35%. I think I have my, I think I got my, let me turn these off. I've got my incarnate stuff slotted, so I don't want to spoil that just yet. Minus resistance, minus slow, right? Again, between those two powers, I've got pretty much everything grounded to a halt. Then we go back to Steamy Mist, which I skipped over. We go ahead and close that pop-out window again. Steamy Mist, got that with a 4 slot of Aegis movement speed because I'm going to be using hover. And I've got defense and some more damage resistance again with the combo there. Then I went ahead and took Hurricane with this guy. So Hurricane is going to be really sort of my bread and butter debuff, at least up close. I've got that with some dampened spirits, 4 slotted, damage, endurance, damage resistance. Notice I haven't broke the bank on this character with this build. You don't see a bunch of purples, a bunch of winter sets, ATOs, that sort of thing. This is a fairly inexpensive set. Anybody can put this together. This is a very practical set, I think. I could probably make it a little bit better if I went ahead and dipped into some purples, some ATOs, that sort of thing. But I didn't feel the need to it. And yet at the time I was making a character. And one of the goals I'll often have is, hey, can I make this on the cheap? All right, then we go ahead and Hurricane. The debuff on this thing, again, let's do a little pop-out action. We've got almost 60% to hit debuff. Come on. 60% range debuff. So with the 801 challenge, if I can get up front, not in the mix of the melee stuff, but enough to be tickling the front line with Hurricane, that's going to be great help for my melee folks who are going to be, in the thick of it. Plus, it's going to help my back row folks who can use this sort of as a screen in case anybody slips past the front line. They're going to be within a 25-foot radius of me. This debuff is going to apply. So that is really going to help survival. It's not going to help us for ranged incoming damage outside of the 25 feet, but anybody within that zone is going to be pretty much screwed as far as trying to hit us. All right, so that's my Hurricane slotting. Then we go ahead and take a look at Tornado is next. Let's see, Tornado is sitting, where's my Tornado? Power Hurricane, Snowstorm. There it is, Tornado. I put a Call to Arms pet set in this one, actually. 4 slotted it. Going for a lot of recharge as well as just some damage on this power. Let's scoot this up so we can see it a little bit better. There we go. What are the numbers telling us? Recovery, hit points, some recharge boosting. The recharge overall is 35 seconds on this one. And what's the duration on this thing? It's pretty close to that, I think. Where is it? Where is it? I'm going to have to pull up my City of Data again. One more second. All right, I pulled up City of Data. I'm not finding the exact duration of this power. But it looks like, some of the debuffs are lasting 8 seconds or longer. So I think it's definitely longer than 8 seconds. That much I know. But anyway, recharge is normally 60 seconds on it. So I've got that down, like I said, to, 30 seconds. Switch back over here to mids. Here it is. So yeah, recharge on this thing, 35 seconds. So I've got it almost cut in half. I'm assuming it's at least 10 seconds duration, if not longer. I forget exactly how long it is, but the debuff of defense is 8 seconds. So if it hits you for 8 seconds later, you're still going to have that lingering debuff, which is something, even if they get away from the tornado, a tornado sweeps this a different target, they're still going to have the debuff applied for that amount of time. So that's really the big reason I have it, is because of the debuff. It's going to disrupt. It's going to throw some stuff around. It can stun. It can knock up, knock back. It's just going to kind of cause some chaos. Plus, it's going to give you some damage. And, the damage on it's not too shabby. I'm not sure that number is correct, though, because that sounds effing crazy down here. 3,000 damage. No, I think the math's off on that one, guys. Let me pull the pop-up on this one. I suppose if you just stand in it that long, it has 61 ticks of 18 damage. If this is legit, that's ridiculous. But I don't think that can't be true, right? There's no way in Hades that tornado is doing that much damage. Let me shut off a couple things just to see if there's any reason why it would be doing that much. I don't even have vigilance turned on. Yeah, it ticks the crap out of stuff, but that seems a bit extreme, isn't it? Thousands of damage? Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, if this is freaking true, then damn, I gotta lock things down. Let's get a tornado on it. Because it'll just rip them to pieces after a time, right? Huh. All right. I don't know. If everybody knows if that's true, that tornado does that freaking extreme amount of damage, let me know. But that just seems like crazy numbers. Lightning Storm is my other big attack here. Summonable pseudo pet. And that one I've got a Thunderstrike set in there. So we're going to be looking at the recovery, the defense, the accuracy, some more movement speed. So it's trying to add together all these different sources of buffs for survival, maneuverability, etc., etc. That is Storm Summoning. Then Beam Rifle, like I said, it took everything. So let's see what I've got there. And I've taken and put Thunderstrike in single shot, charge shot, disintegrate, and Lancer shot. So I am 5ing Thunderstrike across the board. So I'm going to get a total of 10% recovery, What is that? 12.5 defense for energy negative, 6 and what is it? A quarter for ranged. 35% accuracy. So again, remember, I want to hit. I want to make sure I'm just like tagging people. So between aim, focused accuracy, which I haven't talked about yet, leadership pool, I have. Did I take? Yeah, I took tactics, right? And I've got this you know, overarching concept here of just putting more accuracy from set bonuses. So I'm gonna be able to like hit. That's exactly what I want to do with this guy. I don't want to miss. And let me pull this up to see my total miscellaneous buff numbers. Yeah, so my accuracy is 82% bonus, I think. So that's huge, right? My to hit 73.5. So yeah, I'm gonna be able to tag some people. So this is gonna be good. Yeah, I mean it's gonna be disgusting as a matter of fact. I'm just kind of looking because I also have the chance to build up Gaussians in here. Yeah, gonna hit. Gonna hit a fool. All right, what else do we got? Then we're looking at Cutting Beam. I want to head with the Annihilation set. Chance for resistance debuff is in there. Max Endurance, some more damage resistance, regen, endurance discount. For that guy, the chance for the resistance debuff is in Cutting Beam. Cutting Beam already does minus defense. And now I'm going to put in some chance for minus resistance. So 12.5% on that for both of those things. Then we took aim, put a couple Gaussians in there, movement speed bonus. What else did we take here? I already talked about those. Lancer shot, I already talked about that one. Penetrating ray, where's penetrating ray? Penetrating ray, put the sting of the manticore in there. Regen, more defense bonuses, damage, recharge boost. I put the damage proc in there as well. Then we have piercing beam. It's a little narrow cone. Positrons in that one. Recovery, resistance, accuracy, recharge. I didn't put the damage proc in that guy though. And then overcharge. I think one of the best nukes in the game. A little bit underslotted actually, but it does a ton of damage anyway. Let me just kind of check my numbers. 384. So, oh, I think the buildup might have been really affecting. Let me just see if that's why my numbers on Tornado were crazy. Let me go back over here. If I shut off the build-up proc, yeah, the build-up proc is throw another 300 on there. But even so, it's still crazy numbers regardless. So if the build-up proc is clicking, I'm going to be doing some tagging a fool. So my nuke 284. If the build-up proc is fired, it's 385. Right? If I have clicked aim, I'm up to 448. So, I mean, the numbers this guy can put out damage-wise are pretty freaking impressive, I think, right? I mean, agree or disagree, but boom. And if they're sitting in freezing rains debuff, it's going to be game over, man. Game over for anybody I can just tag. And disintegration might be popping and spreading around everybody as well. So he's got a lot of firepower here. That's like no joke firepower. If I'm solo, it should be even better because I have, vigilance kicking in. If I turn vigilance on, I'm gonna be up to 486 now. What is my tornado number looking like? 3,500 if they're stuck in that tornado for the duration. Yeah, it's 61 seconds. So this actually is going to give me 30. All right, so it sounds like the duration of tornado is 30 seconds. And I'm guessing it's firing every half a second a damage tick. So if you can keep people sort of locked down in a location and then unleash tornado on them where they can't get away, it's going to do some damage to some fools. It's going to be nice. More impressive than I was thinking, to be honest with you. Okay, well, that's cool. All right, so what else we got here? Let me shut this off. Pop out window. All right, boom. All right, moving on to our pool powers. I went ahead and grabbed hover. That's my, my main travel, my main maneuverability around the battlefield. So I've got that slotted up with a couple of the Blessing of Zephyr. I've got the non-knockback ones because hover kind of gives you knockback protection anyway. So I got those two. Some more defense bonuses for that. I went ahead and grabbed leadership. Went fairly deep here. Maneuvers, assault, tactics, the main ones there. Maneuvers is slotted with a single red fortune. Split the defense endurance. I probably have that +5 to max that out as best I can. Then I went ahead and tactics. I've got the Gaussians here with the chance for build up, speed, hit points, and recovery boosting there. And then assault, I went ahead. That's my throwaway power at 49. Just put a 50 +5 endurance reduction in that power. Then our next set we have to look at, of course, is Mace Mastery. I grabbed 3 powers out of that one. Scorpion Shield is slotted with the Kismet. Hey, check it out. I want the Kismet. I grabbed the unique +6% accuracy boost in there. So again, concept-wise, he's like a laser. He's not going to miss his shots. Recovery, smash lethal resistance, some regeneration boosting out of that one. Then I have our web envelope, like I was talking about earlier. I've got that 4 slotted with enfeebled operation. That's giving me immobilize boosting, more damage resistance, more defense boosting. So I'm getting lots of mitigation. And then focused accuracy is my fourth one, or my third one here. Got that one slotted with a fairly cheap adjusted targeting 4 slot damage boost, damage resistance, accuracy increase. So that is my slotting overall. Pretty inexpensive, no big deals. Then my other stuff, and I got to double check because I might have updated this since. I got a miracle plus recovery, stamina. I don't know if I just went with the 50 +5s or did I put a panacea over here? Did I put a performance shifter? I got to double check the live build. I might have updated those because this is sort of my old slotting I used to use way back in the day. Especially with characters that had blue troubles, you'd put Miracle over here. But I find actually I think Numinous works a little bit better, or the Panacea, unique in here. But those are all of my main powers. Now, where are we at number wise? Where's this guy looking as far as needs and wants over in his incarnates? Let's pull up our pop-up window of our overall numbers. So here is what he's looking like with all of his just basic toggles on. Hover, Steamy Mist. Let's see, turn off aim. Maneuvers is on, Tactics is on, Assault is on, Scorpion Shield, Focused Accuracy. So all of his main just toggles. So him standing there. Defenses aren't too shabby, right? Smash Lethal, 36. Energy's 40. Negatives 26. That's his main strength there. Some of those more common attack types. Range defense isn't too shabby with the 21%. And remember, if I can get people into Hurricane, these defenses are effectively, and I don't want to say doubled, but they're going to be much more effectively active, right? Because Hurricane has that huge debuff on it of minus 58, 59%. To hit. So if you're under those effects and then you're trying to hit me and I've got 30-40% defense, they're going to have a hard time doing that unless they get some minus defense going on me. Resistance isn't so great, although I do have decent numbers for energy, fire, and cold overall. But that's, if they get past my defense and I hit some of my resistance, then awesome. But he's going to be more reliant upon a positioning game, the minus to hit, the slowing, and his own, just damage output for survival more so than his raw defense and resistance numbers. And that's just kind of goes along with my layered mitigation philosophy that I have with most of my characters. I don't try to put all my eggs in one basket like defense or whatever. I like to spread out ways for survival. So some resistance, some defense, some to hit debuffing, damage debuffing, avoiding getting hit, slowing down the incoming damage, whatever I can do, strategically, tactically, whatever, I'm going to do it. All right, but we'd like to get some more numbers here, of course. The other thing we're a little bit concerned about is the drain to recovery ratio, right? That's barely 2 to 1. That's very risky because I'm going to be shooting a lot. So if I run out of juice, all my stuff's going to start crashing. So I got to do something about that. My hit numbers are pretty disgusting just because of let me shut it off. Let me shut off tactics. Let me shut off focused accuracy, right? So if I turn these things off, the only thing I have then is my Kismet, 6%. But if I turn on tactics, that number is now 65%. So I'm getting about 60% out of tactics. I then throw on focused accuracy. I'm up to 73.5. So another, 12 or whatever percent, 12.5% accuracy on the focused accuracy. And then if I click aim, that number is going to go up even higher. I'm going to punch it up to 133 for those, 10 seconds or whatever that aim is active for. So bam, this guy's going to be going off on some people. The Gaussians, of course, is also proccing in here. So that's something else that's going to give me damage boosting. So those are how I'm really just going to reach out and hit people. I really shouldn't miss unless, Streak Breaker tags me. So I don't really worry about that too much. Other than that, let's see what we got on our incarnate side of the math here. We are taking for the alpha cardiac. Endurance reduction is going to be definitely needed. The damage resistance is going to help me a little bit. Not a ton, because the only damage resistance I really get is toxic out of, I think it's Scorpion Shield. I don't really have any damage resistance anywhere else. So that's sort of a waste part of cardiac. But the increased range is definitely going to be useful, because I'm going to be more, back end shooting from distance with the really high accuracy, high hit debuff or buffing that I have. This is going to help with that. So yeah, it'd be great if I get some more damage resistance, but it's going to give me a smidge more if you look at the numbers. Steamy Mist is going to be boosted a little bit from this power, but pretty much not getting much out of it. But I'll take it. One thing that's weird, though, is Scorpion Shield is supposed to give me some toxic resistance, but it doesn't seem to be getting boosted by this. So 17.5, why is it not affected by cardiac is the question. Because that 17.5 should go higher, shouldn't it? If anybody knows why that is, let me know. Maybe because Scorpion Shield is a defense power primarily. I don't know. All right, what else do we got going on here? We took Clarion as our destiny, because Mez is definitely going to be a problem for this guy. He doesn't want to get held or slept or whatever. But I'm also going for the radial side, where I've got some of my favorite, boosts, specials. I love me some special boosting and range boosting. So the range boost is definitely going to help me out with all the stuff. Just kind of give you an idea of my range with this guy. With those powers activated, let's let's look at my penetrating rate, one of my snipe powers. What's my range on this thing? Range 324 feet. Disgusting. You see me using high range characters before with that. I don't even. This has got to be up there. If not further, I think Freesan Sensei had huge range, but this guy's gonna think be even better. My cone, my cutting beam, right? 100-foot range. Please. Come on, 100-foot cone? That's horrific. Tornado, I'll be able to drop this thing up to 120 feet away from me. So that's going to make it easy to dump it around a corner from way back in safety. So bang, love the extra range boosting. That's one of the big reasons I go Clarion Radial, aside from the Mez. And then just the cardiac. And then I think let's jump over to superior radial. All right, support radial for my hybrid. This is giving me damage, accuracy, defense. So we click that thing, fire this one up. Look at my totals with this thing. So you can see my numbers here. All right, defenses are going up pretty good. So let me kind of click these. Here's Clarion. Let me shut off Clarion. So Clarion on, defenses are up in the 50s, 30s. All right, that's good. Support by itself is giving me a few more. Give me up in the 40s with those defenses. So if I click both of those, Clarion, range, special, you got support, special, defense, accuracy, damage. Cardiacs give me resistance, range, endurance. Okay, all those numbers are just stacking up over here to some pretty sick levels, I think. And again, remember, I turn on Hurricane, I can now debuff the crap out of people. Snowstorm is going to really drop their their ability to even fire with the minus recharge going. Plus, Freezing Rain is going to be knocking some stuff down, slowing things down. Web envelope, I forgot to mention this one. This has minus recharging as well. So let me go take a look at that real quick. So not only does it have the immobilize in it with the enfeebled operation, but the recharge is 25%. So between web envelope and your snowstorm, your freezing rain, I think we're up to like 150% recharge debuff. And that's all in a clustered group that you're just pumping with beam rifle juiciness. I mean, it's going to be over before it even started, I think. So that is sweet, sweet justice I'm going to be unleashing on these guys, these 801s. And what else we got? We've got diamagnetic. This is a minus to hit, minus regen proc that I'm putting into my powers. So that's going to help stuff like, oh, let me take a look at where's a freezing rain could be a good example of this. If we pull up freezing rain, let me do this again. So freezing rain is on. If I shut off diamagnetic, you can see it's adding some to hit, and I don't know if the regen debuff is shown, but the minus hits minus 5%. The regen's 10% here. So all the little crystals are falling on you, the ice chunks. You're taking pretty heavy debuffing already with defense and damage resistance and the slowing and the recharge. Now you're throwing some minus hit. Now you're throwing some minus regen. The minus regen is going to stack up with the minus regen, like Disintegrate is allowing me to throw out there. Disintegrate is 150%. Here is the interface proc is minus 10. And then those to hit debuffs that I'm firing out there with these powers are going to stack up nicely, of course, with hurricanes to hit debuff. So if you start adding that all up, you know, my decent defenses and resistances, pretty solid defenses as a matter of fact, decent resistances, the minus to hit, the minus recharge, he's gonna be pretty safe as long as he's able to jump on an enemy and not get jumped on. So I think this guy can handle business on a team. Then I've got Cryonic as my judgment, slowing things down. I think it has some slow. Let me look up the power info for Cryonic Final Judgment. This might just be the high damage side. I don't think I went with the slow side. Yeah, I went core, so just extreme damage. But it kind of goes with this theme of just shooting out clouds of stuff at people. And then he has storm elementals. I think it's do both my guys have storm elementals? Just checked. Yeah, so they both have storm elementals. I already commented about this. I really don't like storm elementals. Just I like them, but I don't like their animation, whatever. They're just too cloudy, too thick, too hard to see through. But I have it on both of these stormy people. I have the core with this guy, so he has two active pets that are going to be dealing out damage. So I think between the three of them, just hovering together under the cover of his buffs and hurricane, the three of them should be able to unleash hell upon the enemy pretty good. And then our last thing we have here is, or did I cover them all? I think I hit them all. Yeah, I think that was it. Right? We talked about hybrid. We got the judgment. We got our destiny. We got our cardiac. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Covered them all. So there you go. That looks to be his complete build. So the question we have left, of course, is, well, who's going to win this thing? And that is what we're going to find out. I'm going to be running Scouring Sands 801s first this evening, as a matter of fact, is the plan. And then Sycorax will be a follow-up to him. We're going to record the stats and crunch the numbers. Now, before we do that, of course, I want to run Sycorax through a short little solo test just to kind of look at his build in action and talk about some strategies, some tactics. So hang on for a second while I go ahead and queue up that solo mission. All right, here we go. We have got a little mission set up here against our friends, of course, the council. Love these guys so much, especially all the galaxies and their resin. But we're going to be looking for some coral research. I've only set myself to just level 50 times 7. Not trying to go crazy here, just trying to go through some of the build stuff, strategy, tactics, that kind of things. This is his character. I like the look of this guy as well. Sycorax, little jetpack there. Beautiful. Kind of a simple design as well, but useful. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go and see about starting this thing up. Let me turn on my Steamy Mist toggle. Start moving in. See what we can do here. Nobody's there. I like how fast, look how fast my hover is. A lot of people always spend a lot of power picks on travel stuff, but I mean, you get hover pretty good pace, and plenty of fast, super fast actually in a standard map here. This map, speaking of, is very barren. Like, where is everybody? All right, so here's some guys here, but some guys over there. Nobody's up top. Nobody's to the left or right. It's pretty rare. All right, so here we go. We got a bunch of guys here. One of the things I'm going to rely upon is my ability to kind of stack and pack them. And I think the weakness here, again, with the council, I've seen this before, is the Warwolf's ability to avoid the slow effects that I'm relying upon. So you're not going to be able to see the full danger that I can unload on people. So I got a couple options. I could tuck around here and pull them with, let's say, Snowstorm, or drop Freezing Rain around the corner, drop drop Tornado around the corner, something like that. To do that, or you can just open fire on these guys. I mean, they're not set super high, so it would be fairly safe. But this guy's awfully close. What I would like to do is, I think what I'm going to do is kind of stay up here, right? Drop something around the corner, maybe snow. Get them to start coming, and then start tagging them in this area here. Because I do want to get this. Oops. I guess maybe. Oh, hello. My choice has been taken away from me. All right, fine, buddy. You want to be the first victim? All right, our choice has been made for us. Fine. Throw this around here. Him out of there. Let me turn on my hurricane as well. I was going to say I wanted to use Disintegrate. So between Hurricane and my Lightning Storm, Tornado, I mean, people really can't get near me. How slow these guys are. So it's a fairly safe place. So even when things hit the fan, a lot of scatter though. See, my endurance is crashing pretty hard at this point. I'm shooting away, summoning things, but it's been fairly risk-free. I feel like there's more guys than I started with. Yeah, I think this would be great on a disruptor, this combo, because you can get the Scourge just to finish guys off a little bit faster when they get low. Alright, that was it. Okay. Let's turn off Hurricane again. So with this group, I want to try to do what I was thinking. I'm going to throw something over here and I kind of duck over here and set them up for destruction. So why don't we do this? This is the other advantage of this range, right? I can sit here and kind of hide myself. Throw this here. Back out a little bit because I want to get Thunderstorm going. Or Lightning Storm. Let's tuck this right here. Finish these guys off. You know, guys around me, I just gale them out of my face. Now, you don't have a self-heal, so that's one thing you gotta account for. Unless you take Rebirth. I think I've stirred up this whole group at this point. Can't see anything. Let's see how my game's gonna go. The 801 stuff. Charge my Start finishing off some targets here. So that's why I wanted to get some range defense. Because I'm mostly going to be doing this. Dealing with this situation. Some scatter. See you up there. I missed. Down. That guy's stuck. Alright. Messy, but that's how Storm is going to work. Seems to be a little bit of a lag today. Alright, this is going to be more to my wheelhouse here. I don't like that open stuff. With Storm, it's open rooms and Storm just don't mix. Alright, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to lay a trap. I want to get Lightning Storm here. And I'm going to turn on my Clarion. Go ahead and start pulling with Snow. Throw Freezing Rain there. Drop Hurricane, why not? Let's pump my full charge in there. So I can get a little quick popper in there. These guys. Here, have some more. I should try to use my Disintegrate more. There we go. There's Disintegrate. So I shot the big guy with the Disintegrate beam. And I just pump him and he'll start spreading to people around him. Blow these guys back. Just clog this door up. These guys don't know what's hitting them. They really can't do much. So I think this is going to really work well on the team. As long as I can, you know, kind of hang back. They got me immobilized. What the hell? I'm not down with that, you guys. Here. Guy's gonna be pretty much boned at this point. Another boss Archon. If there's just one guy left, the tornado's just gonna work him. Still body, yeah, still somebody there. Alright, fine, guys. Anybody left? This guy's way down here. Snipe. There he goes. Out. Okay, so I think this guy really plays best with that range type of game. Now you could go in with Hurricane and push things around. I'm going to try to do that just to show it. Eat another purple just in case. That's what I would do with this. Use Gust, Gale, whatever to knock them back. It's like this lag delay between getting shot, taking the damage, flipping around. So sit there and plug this guy. Turn off Hurricane, turn on Snow. Work the recharge on him now. Slow him down some more. I haven't even used my web grenade yet. Let's do that. Oh, he's gonna wolf out. All right. Guess I should have just shot him. Now he's gonna run like a bitch. Come on, dude. Don't do that. You can do it. Take your medicine. Disintegrate him some more. So I just got to be very careful on endurance. See, I don't think I've been above half for majority of this engagement here. All right, we got a bunch of galaxies, my favorite. Let's do this. I'm going to pull out my pets just to kind of showcase them. Let me go ahead and look at my live build for my endurance slotting. Yeah, so I think I'm going to do something about health and stamina here. Try to get the blue bar working better for me. All right, but here's the problem, right? Look at this. I can't see anything. I have to zoom way out, and I still can barely see anything. All right, let's turn these guys on aggressive. And I'll go ahead and even give them a proactive buff. O2, it gives plus perception, resistance to disorient, sleep, and drain. Let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and push this here. Pull these guys that way. Great. I don't know how he wolfed out. Plunk away. There we go. So I kind of like that the pets are mimicking what my teammates would be doing. They're taking care of some business while I'm just focusing down on, let's say, a boss. I think that's how a lot of the contact is going to go during his 801 trial. Let's take a peek here. I got like a split group. I think what I want to do is pull them around this turbine thing. Duck around here. Get them in a little bit closer. Summon my lightning. See if Gale can hit them from here. Yep. Cutting beam their ass. Let's pump them. Down they go. Let's pull some more guys. Down he goes. Shut that off. Blast, gone. Down he goes. Alright. Let's do something similar over here. I'm going to kind of poke here. Drop that there. Drop this here. And if they happen to make it around, do a little sneaky Pete there. Put snow on them. Shoot the galaxy. See if I can get some disintegration. I think I missed him though. Alright, let's blast these guys some more. Not quite in range of my gust or cutting beam yet. I think with all the accuracy, I'd never miss this guy. I got 2 bosses in there. Just keep throwing crap over there. So I hit him with my net. I turned off focus accuracy. Oops. Plank, plank, plank. It's a very solo-friendly build as well. Makes sense to do this all day. I don't know that I would actually choose Council, though. Just because the Werewolf's able to run out of your best debuffery. Let me do this. I want to shoot them maybe first. Let's kind of get them to come closer. I'm going to set up my lightning storm here. Let's unplug this guy. Damn, I can't say that I'm missing with that power. Alright, let's get over here. Drop this here. Oh, this werewolf is screwed. Not getting out of there. Start pumping this guy. Why my lightning storm's not shooting that guy. So low in endurance. Oh, you bastard, you. Alright, you want to mess around? Fine. Bad move on your part. How do I keep missing with Disintegrate? It's like the one thing I want to hit with, I keep missing with it. I like that I can stay at range from these galaxies to prevent them from rezzing off of me. Okay, so the other thing you could do is just kind of push in here. Knock this guy over, knock him over. Now, not the optimal, scenario, but I can do it. Kind of use that just to stir them up a little bit. Now I got him in a pincer between me and lightning storm. This is why I went with the web cocoon thing here. See if I can get him to pin him down like that. So web him. Now I've got him in the corner. Web them again. They really can't do much. I mean, while I was over here shooting these two guys, my lightning storm finished the third guy over there. So it's great to have that, couple pets scattering around, doing extra damage for you, mitigating for you, making so you can focus your attention in one area. That's when you play Storm, you pretty much have to trust that your chaos, your pseudo pets are doing something something good uh, behind you in your peripheral, so that you can just focus dead ahead and lay into whoever's your primary target. And as you saw there, if you can pin them, I got them webbed, I got them slowed. They really can't do anything. Now, if there's a huge group of foes, like you saw, the full spawns, that's not as easy to do because things will get scattered around. But once we got stuff whittled down to just a handful of guys left, you're able to do some of those techniques like that. So on a team, this guy's definitely going to be able to shine as long as you're smart about it. And you're not just barreling in there every freaking spawn and throwing stuff all over the place and shoving it away from your melees. You should be able to do quite well with this character in this build. But that's what the testing's for. That's what we're going to find out. So that'll be our next installment with this one. All right, everybody. We'll have a good one, and we'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.